Danville, Virginia native Wendell Scott was the first African American to compete in and win a major NASCAR race. His son Franklin tells the story.
A local promoter was soliciting black drivers to race at the Danville Fairgrounds to expand the fan base, and they felt that if they had a black driver, then the black people would come out to the racetrack. It makes sense. The promoter went to the police department trying to find out some African-American men black men who had speeding records. My father was a taxi cab driver, and he had about 13 tickets that year. So he was one of the candidates, and plus there was a rumor circulating that he may have been a bootlegger, although he had never been caught. So that night the car came all to pieces and everything, but he finished the race and did really well. So that's kind of how he got started. But most drivers back then, they were either bootleggers or former bootleggers, because they had a knack for driving, they had a knack for speed, they had instincts as far as driving cars. But my father was also a mechanical genius. He was unique in that aspect where he could take a car and get the most out of it. He could create things if he needed a tool and he couldn't afford to buy it, or he'd make it. There were many challenges because of my father's race. One was when we think about traveling. Okay, nowhere to stay. We couldn't go to motels. Nowhere to get food. We had to always improvise even to get a meal. And many of the service stations, you couldn't get gasoline. You pull up to the service station and it had white only. So we had to plan our trips or put extra fuel in cans because we knew the road that we traveled, what was available to us, whether it be food, fuel, a place to stay. If we went to a major city, we'd make it find a hotel or something that was owned by a black. We could make us spend one night in the hotel. And then another thing was being able to afford to stay. So a lot of times we slept on the side of the road. We'd bunk out wherever.
I'm going down this road feeling bad. I'm going down this road feeling bad. I'm going down this road feeling bad, Lord, Lord. And I ain't gonna be treated this way.
At first they treated him pretty rough. They didn't particularly like the idea that a black man was trying to invade their world. And so he had some tough times, but he gained respect because he was so talented as a driver and a mechanic, and he even had to help them. They were having problems, he would go help them with their problems. And there were always a few who became loyal to him, and so as time went on, there were only a few who never accepted him, but the majority of drivers did. Every once in a while, we'd have a driver who didn't particularly like him outrunning them. They would, try to spin him out and wreck him and things like that. He didn't believe in the words can't and never. We weren't allowed to use them growing up as children. He's a person who loved all people, loved children in particular. And he was a person who instilled in everybody he met that you can do this. If you're willing to work hard and do the things that's necessary to be successful, you can be successful. And he didn't believe in any boundaries. Certainly not race, the color of his skin there was never anything reason not to do your best. My father was truly a great man. He was a great man, and I think that as history will always portray him as being such, the more you know about him, the more you love him.